Good evening. I call this meeting to order. The Lincoln County Board of Education. We're meeting in regular session. Today is Tuesday, July the 28th. The time is 6 p.m. and we're at the Harts PK through 8. This is a meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the county school system's business. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda item public comments. This meeting is being live streamed and a video copy of the meeting will be on the board's website within 5 working days. This time, I'd like to ask Board Member Gaines if he'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Gaines.
Yes, sir.
Takes us to agenda item 2, which is roll call. Tonight we have with us Board Member Gaines, Board Member Cartwright, Board Member Mosteller, and myself present. Just takes, I was going to say something, but I'll save that for later. Takes us to agenda item 3, public comment. Did we have anybody sign in for public comment? No public comment, so it takes us to agenda item 4, special recognition, and we've got Sean Blair here with us. And I'll turn it over to the superintendent and let him introduce and give him a little introduction, and then.
All right. Several weeks back, received an email from Mr. Blair, and he proceeded in his email to explain to me that he procured old school buildings, refabbed them to their former glory, and utilized them for different events, and just to bring a piece of the community back. And so he met Mr. Davis, myself, and Mr. Cremines out to the old Harts building and did a walkthrough, and it definitely had a different lens than the three of us did. Because when we walked in, we were seeing everything that just didn't, the damage that's been done to it, the vagrants that's broken into it, the different things so we were seeing it through that lens, and while Mr. Blair was seeing possibility and kept talking about the different possibilities and everything that could happen to it. So he told us about some of the historical things of other buildings that he's taken place. So I thought, that obviously this is a decision I can't make. I wanted to just bring him in here and allow him to present his idea to this board and any community members that are here. I think he did a little bit of canvassing the community on his own. I had to tell him that day, he had his daughter with him there. I said, you can't leave here without getting that girl a cake pop over at Creekers. So I think he might have made that happen. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Sean Blair.
First, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedules to meet with me and discuss the Harts High School. Yes, I did venture off into it myself, and I also ventured off with Mr. Martin as well. It's a shame of what the condition of the building is. It does need a lot of work, but from my experience and everything that I've done in the past, I can really bring life back to the town, bring stuff for people of all ages, and basically the presentation that I'm going to be giving. My daughter actually wanted to help out because she did the walkthrough and she was all excited about it. We do a lot of urban exploring as a family, and she said, "Dad, can I make the presentation?" I said, "All right, just don't mess it up, because if it is, I'm going to blame you."
That's right.
has something to do. I know in West Virginia, about drugs, a lot of things that shouldn't be there. And something of restoring our school, bringing all different types of events that we do, it brings the community back together. When we actually do work on a school, we don't go for the big companies to come in and pay them big bucks and clear it out in 3 days and what that means is 20% of our monthly, profits. That also includes merchandise. Merchandise is an extra 20%. You would be surprised how many stickers sell. They may be $1 a piece. You'd be surprised how many people, they don't even have to travel to the school. They go on the website and they want a hat, they want a sticker, I mean, they want a shirt. I mean, they want all types of memorabilia from places like this. So it would be 20% of our merchandise and 20% of our events. Like I said, we're gonna get into the events.
I have a couple of questions before you go on, if you don't
Yes, sir.
mind. So, you'll probably get to this, but one, the Hanley School, is that in Upper Kanawha County?
Yes, it is.
Okay, around East Bank, Montgomery, in those areas?
Right in the middle of it.
Okay, yeah, got a couple of speeding tickets there before. Went to college up there, but next question, you mentioned Brownfield earlier. So before you got in contact with the superintendent, I was working with some of those offices to potentially get some funding to demo the building. Obviously, repurpose is better than demolition, but what I found out was we couldn't receive funding for any of that if we didn't take a portion of the school and repurpose it for some sort of community revitalization project. So basically, we could tear down the gym and the kitchen, but we would have to keep the front. So do you guys, when you say you work with them, are you some sort of nonprofit, profit?
I've worked,
How do you?
I've talked directly with Jennifer Little and Catherine Gooding. She's the one that actually runs the vacant school committee. I actually have a Zoom meeting with them tomorrow about what's going on.
So you do take the entire building, or do you work with organizations like that to potentially?
I find that it wouldn't serve its purpose if you tore down part of it. That would take away the history, because I know that, part of the Hearts was built in one year and the other part of the Heart was built in the other year. And, I kinda wanna keep it the way it
Okay,
is.
yeah, I was just curious, thank you.
No problem.
It's a good presentation.
Okay, so no matter what the state of the building, it can be saved. There was one school where it was missing all the walls on the outside, and it was missing all the rooms on the inside. It still qualified for grants to get restored. So, unfortunately, I found that, with acquiring older buildings, that they come with problems that mainly consist of previous ownership. For example, with this school, grants they'll approve you right away and you'll get it right away. Some grants they'll approve you, but you gotta wait 6 to 8 months, or you gotta wait even a year to get something to be here. It just depends on, unfortunately, control of most of that. But the control that I do have is that we would constantly be cleaning, constantly be, one thing that I wanna do in that school, because there's plenty of room to do, is to make a museum inside. One part of the school, I wanna make a museum, with, I noticed when we did a walkthrough, there's still pictures of old board members and still, old signs and stuff like that. That needs to be preserved. I do work with a local historian that's been doing it for 27 years in West Virginia. He doesn't want one, he just wants to come in, set up the museum, be a credit. So I also noticed that there's a lot of trophy cases filled with trophies that I'm honestly shocked that are still there. Because there's tons of windows that are broken, where people busted in just to trespass. I want those pictures. I want everything that I could possibly save in that building and some type of museum in that school. And, I know that she's supposed to be talking about some of the things, but one of the main things I want to do is historical tour. That's a big building to do, great historical. And it's very hard to find schools that have elevators. I know the elevator, I did do some research, it's that it's gonna cost a pretty penny to get that working. That's my goal. When I have my mind set on something, I go for it, and I don't give up. People ask me why do I want to do all this stuff? Why am I wasting my time to fix up a school that I didn't go to? It's because of this. I see so many schools in West Virginia that I've approached the school board, I've approached private owners, I've approached the town, and no one wants to get there. Rather see the schools sit there and rot. And I'm like, why? I mean, these schools are beautiful. There's a lot of history behind everything. And just a lot of people just would rather it sit where they would get on it. And I'm like, I wasted my time in one town. And I was gonna get, it was one high school that was for the white kids, and then down the hill was the Negro school. And he was also gonna throw in a bank too, which, and, he had my family spend the night there. And, he turned a couple of the rooms into like an ATV retreat, which was pretty neat. So it was kind of like an Airbnb. And, we had walked around the school, it had 2 gymnasiums. It was beautiful. And, woke up the next morning, I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then he was like, well, I kind of shook hands with this guy about 2 weeks ago, and I think I'm gonna turn this school to an ATV dealership. So I was thinking, why waste time? I mean, he wasted my family's time, he wasted his time too, bringing us there. Which again, I think it had to do with my tattoos. But, I can't stress enough to please not judge me.
Mr. Blair, I have a question. Talk about, is it gonna be one major grant or a lot of, like, small grants?
It's gonna be several grants, it's not gonna be just one grant. It's, the way the grants work is, one grant will cover the roof, one grant will cover the floor, one grant will cover the windows, so forth and so forth. There are other, agencies out there that can offer bigger grants, but it's much, much harder to get approved, just because they really don't have the funds to give out.
How many of these do you have? I know you said Handley, but how many more have you done?
We got 4 of those.
Are they all in West Virginia, or are they?
West Virginia only got. We only been here about a year in South Carolina, and, like I said, we love urban exploring. We just came up with the idea, why don't we, get an old building and restore it and do these events that we want to do here, and, I thought it was a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier in my life. When I was a lot younger, I could do a lot more things. But, yeah, it's a dedication thing that, me and my wife, made for each other. And one of the other main reasons that I decided to do it is, 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. And it was a horrible thing. The infusions I had to get for the body until the day I died was my bone marrow reduces too many red blood cells. But thankfully, in the last year and a half, we went into remission. So that got me thinking, what about my 3 kids? What's gonna happen to them if something happens? And I'm no longer around. Well, with these events that we're holding, that's why, she's very interested in it. And our 6-year-old doesn't really know much yet. But, I'm sure once she understands what we're doing, she'll learn too. This is something that I can pass down to her, and I can keep doing. It's basically a legacy that they can continue to do, is to keep restoring buildings and keep holding events. And pretty much just keep going.
When you say events, what kind of events? What are we?
Okay. Okay, yeah, one thing I did forget with the historical grants, one thing that I
Mr. Blair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So how much do you think it'll cost to renovate the school? What's the kind of ballpark figure? When it's done, turnkey, ready to go?
It's gonna cost at least, I haven't dug deep into the school, just from what I've done with the walkthrough and what I've seen with my eyes. We're probably looking close to $600,000. Because the roof alone is gonna cost at least $100,000.
And once it's up and running, you said 20%. 20% what? Well, I mean, what's the average revenue stream of that 20%?
Well, it also depends on the month.
Yeah.
Now, say, one main thing that we do, which people seem to love, is haunted houses. And being a special effects artist, our haunted houses are very, very unique. We don't just go out and buy props. We build them. And I hire professional actors that come in. And it's like you're going, I don't know if anybody has been to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. It's like walking into one of their type of haunted houses. It's very realistic. It builds in a lot of revenue, because you make money off of the ticket sales. You make money off of, food. You make money off of parking. You make money off of merchandise. So you're looking at, for 3 months, you're looking at, you can, especially with the size of this school compared to the other, one in Ansted, you can easily get, just for the haunted house alone, for a little bit over 300,000, easily. And that's with paying the actors and having everything that's for, product as far as the makeup, building the cost. Now, thankfully, I do get a discount because I am part of the SAG union, which is the Screen Actors Guild union. So when it comes to buying that type of stuff, I get it at cost, which is like next to nothing. So haunted houses are very, very popular. Again, like I said, historical tours. Me per se, I am not, I don't believe in paranormal. The paranormal tours are very popular, and people pay $1,000 to stay one night. One night in the building, they pay you $1,000, which it boggles my mind that people believe in this. It's a big thing. Paranormal is huge. We want to also do things for kids of all ages. We want to hold different types of seminars for arts and crafts, science. I noticed that there was a science lab still in the school. I thought that was really awesome, because you don't see that stuff left. There's a science room in there, still with books. Unfortunately, I couldn't get into every single room because the doors are locked. So that's going to cost a little bit of money to rekey all those doors. There's a lot of doors, and that's cool. We do different types of dances. With that gymnasium, we can, hold little like sporting events, like little like for younger kids that do like hockey or roller skating type of stuff. Another great thing about the size of that gym is that we can have music here. We can, all the types of country, bluegrass, rock and roll, whatever it may be. People will be willing to come out. Another thing that I was also thinking about is
So I have another question, a little hypothetical. So you have it up and running in 2 years. You own the building outright, correct?
Which,
The one you're refurbishing, Harts.
I don't own that.
No, I mean,
No, would you,
You would,
would you
uh,
take ownership
You
of
would
the
take
building?
complete ownership of that.
Yes.
So what would prevent you from selling it to someone else and they come in and put something silly or not really community related? Would that be a possibility?
I would never sell the property. I would even sign a contract with you guys stating that if it ever did come down to that, then I would give it back to you guys. I wouldn't want it to go into anybody else's hands. It wouldn't be right. I came in here, asking for you guys to give me a chance, then it would kind of be like a slap on the back if I went and sold it to somebody else, to do something else. That's bad. That's why I said I didn't do that. So if it ever did come down to something like that, I would definitely give it back to you guys.
Just want to make a quick comment on something you said earlier. This is obviously all up to the board, I'm just an employee, but we have no other option for athletic fields. So if the board would wish to do something with that building, something would have to be done to that property description and those tax documents, because we would still have to keep football, baseball, all that stuff to the right of the property when you drive down in there. I don't think it would be.
I believe the contract, if I'm not mistaken, the one that they signed with the county commission, which a 5-year-old could have written, it goes from the sidewalk to the school.
Yeah, footprint.
So,
Just a foot.
but yeah, you're right. We would have to retain everything from basically the sidewalk over.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I have no problem with anybody using it. Because I know you guys use it for sport events. The only time that field would ever come in handy is during the Halloween time, because we also put on a circus. I actually know real circus performers that come down and travel, and, that field, for example, would be perfect circus time.
Yeah. It would have to be,
It doesn't have to fall.
Ours doesn't have a team?
You can always work around that, because the circus would bring a lot of revenue into the town.
And our concerns with parking, if we're having spring events at the school, and if you're having an event, at a field, and you're having an event, parking's gonna be limited. That would be a concern as well.
Right, and
I'm sure there'll be communication both ways. I mean, if they're doing an event, they'll let you know. You're doing an event, you'll let them know. That's simple fix.
strong communication between everybody is key. If we don't have strong communication, communication is critical. So anytime that anything happens, I'm not opposed to anybody using my parking lot. If you guys have anything you want to do, need the parking lot and not have anything going on, always call me.
I told him from the get-go, just the footprint of the building. That's where this would come in there, an MOU. If, if we decide to do this.
Okay. Does that complete your presentation? Or you still got more?
So the way the deed would work is, in order to get a phase one, the asbestos check, the lead check, the mold check, the radon check, I can't put deed into my name until they do those checks first. After they do those checks, then the deed can be transferred
you say the timeline, probably less than a year?
The way it looks as of right now, without having gone deep into it, is looking about a year to a year and a half, to get.
And you're certain the grants will come through, or you're hoping the grants will come through?
Yes, I'm in very, very well with the Brownsfield, and also in good with the West Virginia Preservation Alliance as well, and they have also offer grants too. So I'm not worried about not getting everything.
Brownfield has already been out and walked around, walked the property.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was in contact with, just before you, I was trying to get something done
You
with
know
this.
how long ago that was?
Without going into great detail.
About a year.
We kinda got the property dumped back into our hands via a letter in USPS, so, it was a little bit of a surprise.
I mean, regardless, I would review it anyways, just to be honest. Not saying that it didn't need to be done the first time around. Whenever I come in, I always like to review it. And like the one in Ansted was done in 2024, and, I wanted it done again, just to be safe, so. dances, various theme proms. We also want to use it as a wedding venue, do different types of wedding packages. You'd be surprised how many people want to get married in abandoned historic buildings. It blew my mind when I did my research on that. It's a lot of people want to marry in these places. Like I said, it's a convention center where locals can meet and take photos with famous celebrities and athletes. We can do a skateboarding competition. I know a lot of famous skateboarders that would come here and, set up something at the school and do a demonstration for the kids. Music venue, do like a battle of bands, photography tours of the property, do big Christmas event. Some areas, they wanted to do a turkey shoot for Thanksgiving, so I said, okay, well, if you guys want to shoot turkeys, go ahead and shoot turkeys. And, the list goes on. There's so many different things that we can do with this building to bring it back to life, to have traffic coming back into it and have profit coming back, not just to myself, or the school board itself as well. Again, with all these events, that's why I mentioned the insurance and the liability. Every different event, again, has its own liability. If someone stays overnight, it's like this thing. It goes into extreme detail. And they're on cameras, and they know they're on cameras. Unfortunately, you can't trust people even though they're paying the same. For someone to just do a skateboard, it's just one form they gotta fill out, just, in case they trip, because it's an old building, you never know. They may touch the wall or something, and something may happen. So we always have a liability to cover every single event that happens. Because insurance, people like to sue people these days. And, my dad used to be an insurance broker in Boston, and he taught me very well to see why they. So the doors would be open once it's done. The doors will be open every single day with something going on. Once the building is registered with the state historic register, verified on Google Maps, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Facebook, Instagram, make a registered website, we start promoting. And we also do before and after photos and videos, restoration, because the public likes to see what's going on. What are you actually doing? What did this piece look like before you did this? So we try to keep it all together and keep everybody informed. Everything will be on the website, everything will be on the social medias, whether it be a video or whether it be pictures of us doing something to that thing. And this way people know we're
Mr. Blair, I just want to say, I applaud your creative ambition. I know Mr. Barnett's gonna do his due diligence and come up with a proposal, but, I just want to say, I appreciate what your thought process is.
I think it's very interesting. Definitely intrigued. You all got to work out some few details on.
People don't realize what they can do with historic buildings.
Yeah.
Instead of tearing it down and having them just sit there and rot.
So let me ask you, my last question is: does your level of interest change at all, knowing that you're not acquiring that whole property, just the footprint of the building?
As far as not build to be,
Right.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Just,
It would not be able to be used for parking or.
no, I would never, because the grass looks fairly damn too.
Okay.
What's your daughter's name? Hey, you did a great job. Very brave. Thank you. What school do you go to? Andrew Jackson. Ms. Donahoe over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Under consent, G-H-I-N-J. Me and Frank attended a session with the capital finances. Also,
Just a
about a
regular,
year,
it looks
we
like
had to put those out for competitive bid,
a lot of
we just
people
can't.
didn't even know that Amity
We can't, so can we just take
Because
it?
it closed in 1969. It was originally a one-room, wooden building, and it burned down. It was, from 1897 to 1937. Burned down in 1938, they built that. Surprisingly, there was no cafeteria, there was no gymnasium. Behind the school is where I found the abandoned Hannibal Cemetery. It's a segregated cemetery, both of whom are abandoned. I found that out, I dug and, made a walking path to both of them. We fixed up the cemetery. There were graves that were turned over, we put them back up. And I went to the mayor of Miami, I'm like, hey, can I do cemetery tours? Historic tours, I found out that there's 80 people in the cemetery. It's from 1817. And he was like, well, the reason why it's abandoned is the person that owned the property let it dwindle. And I'm like, all right, what's the land restrictions? He handed me the deed for cemetery. I was like, okay. And then Anstead, that's the one that has the copper steel roof. And, that has 6 rooms on one side, 6 rooms on one side, and a gymnasium in the middle. Now, it's not a normal size gymnasium. There's no bleachers or anything. But there is a banister that goes around the top of it. That's where kids sit and watch football, basketball. But, like I said, we just started doing cemetery tours, there's over 80 memorials, they even got the cemetery ID. I found out the exact address of it. Of course, everything that we do is appointments only. This is some of the before and afters. This guy just, it was horrible. This run alone was a nightmare.
How many events have you held in that building, do you know?
About 12 so far. We just had someone come in, yesterday, who's gonna do a overnight stay for $1,000. This whole team, 7 people want to stay right there. And, as you can see, they put French doors, and they have the original doors laying on the floor. So I took the original doors and I put the original doors back. That's what the hallway was like. And I put brand new doors on here. That's what the outside looked like. That's how
your other two locations? That's Anstead and Hanley. You said there are two more?
There's also a website for the Instead. Now, the other school, I don't have a website for it yet, because I'm just a part of it. Actually, I'll have one off of the auction.
Where is it located?
That one is. It's Poasttown Elementary School.
All right. That concludes your presentation. Well, I'd like to, Mr. Blair and Mrs. Blair, I thank you for taking your time. Amira, you've done a great job on the presentation. I'm not going to ask or re-echo the things that were asked, and even there's definitely going to have to be, if we go this route, an MOU, and or we'll have to have all that understanding. But there's very few people that love Lincoln County as much as I do, and I want to bring things to the county. A lot of times I think our people can't see the forest from the trees.
Yes.
And I appreciate you got a vision. You want to bring life back to stuff. So I like that. If our only option, because in this county we don't have a whole lot of real estate, and we need real estate. But if we don't have a means of being able to tear down the building and putting something there that is in our need, and it's just going to sit there and rot, I'd much rather see something be used for it and it be useful.
Yeah, because to demolish a building actually costs a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If our options are let the building sit there and rot, or let somebody come in and maybe refurbish it and utilize it, and it all sounds great to me, is what I'm saying. But we'll just have to see with everything, and how it works out. But I appreciate the presentation, the time that you took out. It was wonderful, and it sounds like you all do great work. So I appreciate that.
We try.
Yeah.
I really wanted her to talk about the events, because she's all excited about it. She's a little nervous.
But are there any other questions from the board?
No. Thank you.
If not, yeah, thank you. But you'll be in contact with Superintendent Barnett, and we'll have to talk and that kind of
I'm
thing.
very open to anything, if there's a concern that needs to be addressed, or if there's, something that you want added on to something. I'm very easy to do this kind of stuff. I just want to make it happen, and I want Lincoln County to be proud.
Yeah.
From what I saw, it was extremely popular with basketball.
Mhm.
It seemed like it really shined for basketball, so, I wanted to shine again. So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Blair.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. Continuing with our business, we're moving to agenda item 5, which is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Mosteller. Mr. Cartwright,
Yay.
Mr. Gaines,
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson is a yay. That carries 4-0. Just real quick, interject. If y'all want to stay for the remainder of this meeting, you're welcome to, but if you want to leave, by no means are you going to interfere with us. So, yeah.
Be careful heading home.
Takes us to agenda item 6, which is consent. before we take up, agenda item 6, I want to, we need to table, item G, H, I, and J. So I make a motion, that we table items G, H, I, and J.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Cartwright?
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller?
Yay.
Mr. Gaines?
Yay.
And Mr. Wilson is a yay. That carries 4-0 to table items G, H, I, and J. Now, we'll go back to agenda item 6 and take up items A, B, C, D, E, F, and K. Give you a second to.
I have a question. The kitchen renovation in Hamlin, is that something, because something was not working or
Floor collapsed.
floor collapse? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. There was, that kitchen was an add-on, okay, years ago. And we were actually under there looking at a plumbing issue. And it has metal floor joists that run the length of the building. Well, they weren't connected to anything on either end. It was just, the floor itself was what was holding everything in place. So, Mr. Cremines contacted the engineering firm that we work with, who come in and said, no, you can't use this. So, that was happened at the end of last year, this past school year. So we brought on an additional cook, and 2 cooks are preparing hot food at Lincoln County High School, and they're bringing it over to the cafeteria. Cold food and everything can still be served there. Our maintenance guys were real good about it. They jumped in real quickly, got everything wired and plumbed to have all the cold food moved over to the other side of the room so we can get this done. So that's where we are on it. We went in and we had a pre-construction meeting, pre-bid meeting on the 15th over at the school, where we had 5 bidders come out, 5 companies come out and look at it. And then we ended up having 4 bids, one of which we couldn't accept because the bid work wasn't submitted properly. So this came in as the low bid. Now in that bid, just for an FYI, there's a $35,000 contingency in there. So if things go smoothly and then the actual price of that will be $35,000 less than what you see there.
So what's the timetable for completion?
I think we have it on there, September 15th, I think was the,
I think he was gonna add 2 more
yeah,
weeks.
September 28th was gonna be the
That's not bad.
substantial completion date.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask those questions as well, but when are they started? Have they started, or when they gonna
No,
start?
they haven't started. We had to wait till we get it approved tonight, and they're submitting a post-bid paperwork. And then, our maintenance guys have already gone in and stripped it completely out. So they're ready to rock and roll as soon as we get approval and get them on it.
And this company, Dan Hill Construction, they're ready to go to work?
Yes.
All right.
Sounds like operational just a few weeks into the school year.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve consent items.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Mosteller. Mr. Cartwright,
Yay.
Mr. Gaines,
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller,
Yay.
and Mr. Wilson is a yay. That carries 4-0. Takes us to agenda item 7, allowed and authorized payment of bills.
Make the motion, we pay the bills.
Motion by Mr. Mosteller.
Well, I have a quick question. So I looked in there, how much we pay in Apple this year? I know I saw $100,000.
I had a question about Apple too, and I've made a note, it's just under 98,000.
Is that for iPads?
iPad replacement,
So my-
next gen.
So my question is, I know you had spoken earlier about like reducing the amount of iPads. I am all for that.
Yes.
I would love to go back to the place where we're not reliant on that type of stuff. And I think it would help the county out if we just kind of reduce, like having class sets, whether at the K-8 model or even the high school.
That's what we're doing this year for K1 and 2.
Yeah.
We're doing grade level sets.
I wouldn't be opposed to expanding that. I feel kind of responsible. I think Mr. Davis and I, back in the day, we signed a lot of invoices for iPads. So it was part of the COVID initiative, but I mean, if your vision sees it differently, completely support us kind of lowering that, standard in terms of the one-on-one initiative.
We're wanting to see what data look like after a year in the primary grades. I actually had talked before you come on board about expanding this at the end of next year.
Yeah,
Doing
and-
this is kind of a pilot.
Yep.
Pushing
You're
it.
doing class sets in the lower grades, is that?
Yeah.
what you're doing?
Yep.
That's Paul was saying.
That's, it's either iPads or TVs.
Yeah, yeah.
When I can get into Weebly.
no, I mean, I'm yeah.
My question was, is there any computers in there? I know there was some discussion a couple months ago about some of the upper grades, once they get into high school and they're having to do essays and reports.
I
and-
think those are the ones that, it's a new product Apple came out with. They're actually, I think it's a better product, and they're about $100 more than an iPad. And it's a laptop basically.
Yeah.
And, for the upper grades. Looking at senior class this year and kind of phasing those in as time goes. But like Mr. Gaines said earlier, my vision is to see us move to using the iPads and the computers as a tool, not the end all. I'd call me old school, and I am old school, but I think that we need more of the sage on the stage to improve what we're working on.
That was my only question. We have kids currently that are typing, sizable essays and no keyboard.
Right.
Which is, I couldn't do it, maybe if I really put my mind to it, but it has to be more challenging than giving them a device with a keyboard on it. So that's included in that number, we think some.
Yes,
Okay.
there's some of those in there.
If there's no further questions about finance, it was motioned by Mosteller,
I'll second.
seconded by Cartwright. Mr. Cartwright?
Yay.
Mr. Gaines?
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson is a yay, that carries 4-0. Takes us to agenda item 8, financial request for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Cartwright,
I'll second it.
second by Mosteller. Mr. Cartwright?
Yay.
Mr. Gaines?
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson is a yay, that carries 4-0. Takes us to agenda item 9, personnel. For purchase of personnel, I direct your attention to the blue sheet behind your agenda. Looks like we've got items A through Q. I1. Okay.
The certified and we already got the printed off, so I draw a line.
So, yeah, just for clarification, these are coaches and things that didn't get their credentials in time. And what you're saying is that Mr. Jeffrey got his completed this morning? Okay.
Yep.
So, we're striking item I1 from agenda item 9. Do I need to do a motion and everything from it?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna do it just to be safe. I make a motion that we strike item I1,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Cartwright. Mr. Cartwright?
Yay.
Mr. Gaines?
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson is a yay, that carries 4-0 to remove item I1. So we'll take up the rest of those items, A through Q, minus item 1I.
Make a motion to approve personnel.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright, second by Mr. Mosteller. Mr. Cartwright?
Yay.
Mr. Gaines?
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller?
Yay.
Mr. Wilson is a yay, that carries 4-0. Takes us to agenda item 10, superintendent updates.
It's been a very busy couple of weeks. Mr. Davis and I were at the SAIL conference today, and we have a couple middle school teams that'll be back in Charleston tomorrow for the middle school conference. We have our, I sent everyone a schedule. We have our administrator academy the 5th, and then we have first principal meeting is the 7th. So Mr. Davis and I have been very busy preparing packets and information. There's a lot of information to go out to give to everyone this year. So everything's going like it should right now. So we're pleased with that. A little bit of update on the Duval project. The gym floor is all down now. Got a picture on that earlier today. They had the delivery trucks and things had damaged some areas of the sidewalk. And they've gone back in now, and they actually took out those sections of sidewalk today to redo them. There will be, on top of what you see there'll be 4 additional inches of blacktop on top of what's there. So it'll be a good smooth service when they come out there. They had the rock hounds out over the past couple of days trying to clear any kind of large aggregate out of the soil to get it ready to sow grass. So it's moving along very well. You walk into every time you walk in there, you see just a tremendous amount of progress. So I feel real good about it. About them definitely delivering on time, probably ahead of schedule. But that doesn't mean we'll move ahead of schedule because I learned from experience.
I was just gonna say, all materials to complete the building
are on site. But I learned from experience about prematurely moving into a facility before all the air handling's done, before everything is run in. We have all the systems are tested adequately. We want to make sure that by the time we put children in that building, that we're not having to bring construction workers back in 2 weeks later. So that unfortunately I lived through that once, so don't want to do that again. It's not good for anybody to do that. We've had at least 1 summer graduation so far. I think we're looking at probably 4 more kids who have completed credit recovery this summer and be able to get their diploma. Great. So when I started here 3 years ago, Mr. Davis and I decided to do little ceremonies for them as they graduate. We'll go over and give them a chance if they want to wear their cap and gown and hear pomp and circumstance and give them their diploma, we do so. And it's been a really good experience. Some of those kids, the one Mr. Davis did there last week, he told him that, Mr. Davis, can we do this quickly? I got to go to work. And that's what you want to hear.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So he did a good job with that. So the credit recovery part of it is going pretty well. Summer school's been busy. We've had several out. And the folks in the different schools are doing a good job of publicizing that. We're in the middle of the I Love Public School campaign to bring you up to speed on that. There's a video circulating right now on our website that's got a lot of hits. I think it's had about 2,500 views already, and it's just to talk about Guy said today in our workshop, he said, if you don't pick up your pencil and write your own story, somebody else will write it for you. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to publicize as many of the good things. There are a lot of, as my tagline says, there's awesome things happening in Lincoln County schools. And we just have to make sure that we meaning our administrators, our teachers, our service staff, we go through and we talk about the great things that are happening. Just off the top of my head, Japanese immersion happened here earlier this week, at this summer school. It happened, I think, at Duval. This happened yesterday, actually. So there's a lot of good things that we are doing for our kids that we need to make sure that we toot our own horn with that and get that word out there. I will no longer be putting out things on my personal Facebook page. That's all going to be going through the Lincoln County Schools page now, anything that I put out. So that's where those will be at this point. So, but we're looking forward to another good year. We're looking forward to getting things started. Ms. Shortridge and her team have been working tirelessly all summer long, gathering further resources and for our teachers and principals to use. We showed a lot of gains last year. We didn't grow as much as I wanted to. I don't know that we ever will. But we're trending the right direction. Chronic attendance, chronic absenteeism dropped by about 22%. Math increased, I think, 5%. In ELA, 3%. Some of the schools that we have, individual schools, were just out of this world. We had, some schools that were 15, 20, 25 points ahead of the state average. And we're thrilled with that. We just need to make sure that we take our struggling ones and focus a lot of efforts into there. And but for our high flyers, as I say, we can't let off the gas. So, Mr. Davis, you have anything to add?
All right, thank you. That takes us to agenda item 11, board member comments, and I'll start just back up to where I kind of paused on the roll call earlier in the meeting. I was going to say that you notice there's only 4 of us. I did want to mention again that we still have a vacant position. If you are interested in the vacant board position, first of all, you need to live in District 3, Hamlin area, and you got to have a letter of intent submitted before end of business Monday, August the 3rd. And then once we receive all those letters, we'll distribute them to the board members. And right off the top, if it's not District 3, those will go to the wayside. But if they are District 3, we'll probably have maybe want some interviews or something like that. But just try to get the best candidate for the position. But that's why I stopped on the roll call section at the 4. The other thing is the Duval. You gave that update, and I appreciate that. You mentioned the gym floor and that it's already in, and I know that we had talked previously about maybe being able to use that. But have you talked?
I've talked to the architect. That's still in discussion. We would have to work out the logistics of, right now, the general contractor, they're paying all utility bills. So we'd have to work out, there's some logistics to work out. And we talked about it. We were up there actually on a tour last week. Ms. McComas had her new assistant and another teacher with her, and we talked about that last week. And the general contractor says he thinks that's a definite possibility. We just have to work out the logistics.
Okay.
Within the next 10 days, they should have the bleachers, the lines, the lockers in the locker room, and the wooden benches in.
Yeah. And you said that they were ahead of schedule and that you'd learned from a past failure not to go too soon. So if you learned something, I wouldn't consider it a failure. So good job on that. We don't want to get started too soon and then not be able to, or get ripped out of it or things go haywire. So we definitely want to make sure that we can use the gym before we turn over the entire building. And if that's possible, it will certainly make logistics for Duval Athletics a lot easier.
Absolutely.
But anyways, that's that, and that was my question about the Duval floor. So, basketball season will be quickly approaching, so the sooner that we can figure that out, the better. But all right, open it up to any other comments.
I'll just say this was an interesting presentation tonight. Gives us a lot to think about. I think we need to be open-minded, but we also need to work out some details and make sure everyone's real clear on where certain lines are, because we don't want to do something to trying to help and then hinder you all if you're too. So just need to go into it cautiously, but all in all, I think there's more upside than there are downsides. And then thank you all for having us up here tonight. I know everybody has to stay late and entertain Mr. Gaines, and it's just a headache, but we appreciate it. The only other thing I would add is that I think we have 2 letters that have come in already. We haven't looked at them, but we know that there are 2 and they're in the right district. Do we want to go ahead and schedule a day to do interviews? That way we can we can tell them instead of waiting until after the 3rd, and then we're giving everybody a 2 or 3 day notice, and we're still in vacation season, they could be out of town, or we could just do it on the 11th, schedule them on the 11th, we have a meeting that day already. It can't be, and Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, it can't be after the 11th, is that right?
Yeah.
The 45 days will be up.
Yeah. So it can be, it could technically be after the 11th, but it would have to be a special call meeting. It would have to be before the next
the
scheduled
28th,
board
or
meeting.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Okay, so we have some time, okay.
yeah.
I'm good then.
Just to that point, personally, I think, and we can discuss with the board, but I think we should wait till after
All of them are in?
all letters of intent are submitted before we schedule, any kind of interviews or anything.
Okay.
But, I'm sorry, I said but I don't have anything else. Does anybody, was there any other comments?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. Can we get the 2 CSI school principals to present their intervention plan, their school of improvement plan next time? I thought Joni was gonna present tonight.
Well, she couldn't tonight.
Okay.
And I knew this gentleman was
Yeah.
coming, so,
Can we get her back? I'd like to see
yeah.
the test scores and see how we're doing.
yep.
Perfect.
And again, on the note of the presentation, like Mr. Cartwright said, we get the details, get in the weeds on the details, but it's good to kind of think outside the box, something different, as opposed to doing the same things, getting the same results. And you know, maybe this might be a good avenue, but we'll have to see what's best. But I thought it was a interesting presentation.
Certainly. All right, well, if there's no other board member comments, that takes us to agenda item 12, adjourn until Tuesday, August 11th, 2026, 6 p.m. at the central office in Hamlin.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cartwright.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gaines. Mr. Cartwright.
Yay.
Mr. Gaines.
Yay.
Mr. Mosteller.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson is a yay. That carries 4-0, and the time is 7:36.